the stadium, an emerald and alabaster gym. Its signature game, the granddaddy of them all. Before the Wright brothers ever left the ground, football had kicked off the new year in Pasadena. The timeline unfolds like the pages of history. Gridiron tales told through dust, through depression, even time of war. Like the country itself, this game has always found a way to play on. It's a game of both pomp and of circumstance. And when the players take the field before a roaring sea of the faithful, it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to etch their names alongside some of the best who have ever played. Granddaddy. Not merely because it's the oldest or the grandest, but because to all who pass through its gates, it is family. Welcome all to the 100th Rose Bowl game.
You are looking live at one of the most iconic scenes on the American sporting calendar, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California on New Year's Day. And this day is special, the 100th Rose Bowl game. Stanford, champion of the Pac-12, playing Michigan State, winner of the Big Ten. Stanford won the Rose Bowl a year ago, but for Michigan State, this is their first appearance here in 26 years. We welcome you to the 2014 Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio. Happy New Year, everybody. Well, as you know, so many of us grew up ringing in the new year by watching the granddaddy of them all, and this is special, the 100th edition. And Herbie, it wouldn't matter to you and I if it was the 105th. It would still be special.
It's unbelievable. Every time we come here to call this game, this is the best setting in sports for me, and I think you would agree with that. It's the 8th time that you and I have had a chance to call this game together. The fact that it's the 100th is obviously special, but it's just an honor to be here to call this game sitting next to you. We're going to have a lot of fun for the next 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Stanford, the winner here a year ago, and they come in with a very multifaceted offense.
They really do. They're known as a physical football team, and obviously that's where it starts. They want to run the football. They have the best offensive line in the country. You're going to find a lot of the footballs in the hands of number 25, Tyler Gaffney. Watch David Yankee, 54. This is a power play. You'll see it a lot. They run the football. They set up other aspects. Now, against Michigan State, you're going to see a lot of blitzing. They want to attack the Michigan State safeties, the inside of the Michigan State defense, not so much the corners on the outside. Devin Kajust here against Arizona State gets separation late. Hogan puts it right on the money. That's something that they're going to look to do. To me, Kevin Hogan is the X factor. If Michigan State covers down the receivers, you can see he's mobile just enough to get away from the trouble. He can pick up some first downs and keep plays alive. Kevin Hogan's arm tonight in this game, and his legs will be a very, very important part of the Cardinal attack.
Matched against the great defense of the Spartans, but before Michigan State left East Lansing, a bombshell when it was revealed that their leader and captain, middle linebacker Max Bulla, had been suspended for this game.
Yeah, he had started 40 straight games. So you're kind of taking the heart and soul of the Spartans defense out of there. It's more the awareness, just the understanding of what to expect because he has done so much. Kyler Ellsworth steps in. He's a senior. He's a former walk-on. He's got a lot of reps in practice, but it's different. How will he react in the game today and make the adjustments that are required?
They have a very physical, tough secondary. Darquez Denard is a defensive back on an island.
Yeah, they are more than any other defense in the country. Look at the corners. They play press. They have no safeties behind them. They leave their corners literally on an island every snap. This against Ohio State. Denard's on an island. It frees up the safeties to get involved in run support. Isaiah Lewis coming up, makes a play here against Braxton Miller. Another player, Danico Allen, number 28, outside linebacker, here on 4th and 1, makes the play of the year for the Spartans, securing a victory against Ohio State. Danico Allen needs to step up, not just making plays, Brent, but the leadership. Without Max Bulla being there, 28 picks up a big role.
The Spartans, champions of the Big Ten, now assembling behind Mark D'Antonio, who has done a superb job with this team. An amazing success story. And they were able to hold off a very spirited and game Ohio State team, an undefeated Ohio State team, in the Big Ten championship game back in Indianapolis. D'Antonio will bring them out, and when he does, he'll little trot out. This is a team that stays together. And on the other side, head coach David Shaw and the Stanford Cardinal, trying to win the Rose Bowl for the second straight year. Fabulous sellout crowd on hand here at the Rose Bowl. Our weather, perfect. Heather Cox and Tom Rinaldi are with us, and Heather's got Stanford coach David Shaw down below, so let's go to Heather. Happy New Year, Heather.
Happy New Year to you as well, Brent. Coach, last year your defensive leader Shane Scove took the Rose Bowl locker room and brought a ton of emotion addressing the team. I heard he did the same thing moments ago. What message did he issue to the team?
You know, the message was from a fifth-year senior who's playing his last game, but he's not thinking about the nostalgia of playing his last game. He's talking about taking advantage of this great opportunity to play in the 100th Rose Bowl with his brothers.
Enjoy it, Coach, and Happy New Year. And now let's go across the field to Tom Rinaldi.
Heather, thanks very much. Alongside Coach D'Antonio, 26 years for your program to get here. How have you coached your team to manage the moment?
Well, we tried to peak at game time. We keep talking about keep the lion in the cage. And, you know, at game time, let the lion out. So we're going to find out what we got.
Time to roar. You heard it. Brent?
Thank you, Tom. And a Happy New Year to you, too, my friend. Now today, the 100th edition. Michigan State, of course, deferred, and that means that Stanford will get the ball. They have the #1 return team in the country, and Ty Montgomery is the man back deep. We are underway in Pasadena. This is Montgomery. The Spartans are going to see what he's got. And he's out to the 24-yard line. So here to help us introduce Stanford's starting quarterback is 1970 Heisman Trophy winner and 1971 Rose Bowl MVP Jim Plunkett.
The Cardinal starting quarterback for today's game is Kevin Hogan from McLean, Virginia. Kevin is 16-2 as a starter and seeking his second straight Rose Bowl victory. Good luck, Kevin, and go Stanford.
So Herbie Kevin now brings them out. 6'4", 228 pounds, and he can fool you. He's got a good deep arm.
He sure does. He has a deep arm and he has quick feet. He can move around, and that's something he's going to have to do today against this Michigan State tenacious, aggressive defense.
Tyler Gaffney is the I-back. He gets the first play up the middle, and the middle of that Spartan defense met him head on. And Herbie, let's take a look now at some of our impact players. We've already mentioned the two fellas from Stanford.
Yeah, 25, Tyler Gaffney. He'll have his hands on the football at least 25 times tonight. Ty Montgomery's going to make some plays in the passing game. Also see him on reverses. Danico Zalin has to step up. He leads this team in tackles, needs to provide the leadership. And Darquez Denard, they'll keep him on an island along with Trey Wayans. He's got to make plays and hold up in one-on-one coverage against a talented group of Stanford receivers.
Hewitt motions out for the Cardinal. Their first pass of the game. Throw it downfield, and it is caught at the 30-yard line by Michael Rector, one of the speedsters who steps up, so they went right at the corner.
Now this is the matchup that everybody wanted to see. Could Hogan take advantage of some outside one-on-one coverage? This is going to be a big part of this game. Michigan State literally begs you to take some chances, and Michael Rector, he's averaging 32 yards a reception this year. He only has 12 catches on the year, but he's been a big play receiver for the Cardinal attack, and he gets off to a great start here.
They come back with that power eye look. Gaffney will try the left side, finds daylight, and he crosses the 30-yard line. Isaiah Lewis makes the stop. We're going to refer to this offensive line often because, Herbie, you and I have talked. We think that this could be the best offensive line in the country.
Yeah, Andres Pete at the left tackle is just a man and will be the star next year. David Yankee, arguably the best lineman in the country. Wilkes has moved from guard to center. Kevin Dancer, Cameron Fleming, they played so much football together. The continuity, the way they're coached by Mike Bloomgren, I would say they are the best offensive line, not just physically, but they're technicians. They take a lot of pride in it.
Cajuste is matched up one-on-one on this play, and Hogan looks in that direction, can't find an opening, so he takes off himself and reaches the 26-yard line. Jones with the stop, one of the Spartan linebackers.
Michigan State gets Stanford to third down. Remember, Michigan State, the best third down defense in the country, only allowing 27% on conversions. It's a big third down here to see after that big play by Rector to see if they can slow down the Cardinal attack.
And Wilkerson will check in as the running back here for this third down. Now Hewitt comes back to give Hogan a hand if they have to pick up a defensive player. Wilkerson, Hogan keeps it, steps up to the 20-yard line for a first down. That was a very nice bit of ball handling by the quarterback.
It sure was. Hey, you know, Stanford has done this all year. They save third downs for Kevin Hogan. He rides it and then he pulls it. He's actually reading the outside linebacker, Twan Jones, number 34. Watch Twan Jones. He'll stay with the back. It allows Hogan to keep the football, and this is what we talked about. He doesn't have to do a lot with his feet, but just enough to keep the drive alive on third down, whether it's a scramble, creating, or a run like that to keep the sticks moving.
Gaffney back on the field. Play action on the first down, and they slip it out to the outside of Montgomery with great speed. Across the 15-yard line and finally pushed out of bounds right around the 10. In fact, he made it cross the 10. He did indeed, I believe.
And Curtis Drummond takes a chance here. Now remember, Michigan State coming out of the Big Ten, they haven't seen a lot of receivers with the speed and playmaking ability of Ty Montgomery. They've been able to make these plays in the open field. Drummond that time bites on a little inside move and then the quickness and acceleration to get downfield. Drummond takes a chance here, Brent. This could have been a loss of 4 or 5. Instead, the missed tackle there, and all of a sudden he picks up 3 or 4 yards.
So the officials say that he stepped out at the 16-yard line, and they moved the spot back to that. Here's Gaffney on a little bit of a cutback, breaks that first tackle loose, end zone, touchdown Stanford. Tyler Gaffney with the first score as he hits pay dirt, 16 yards.
Talked about how multiple Stanford is, Brent. There's a look here in their first drive, 7 plays, 77 yards. You saw a little bit of everything there with the run game, the pass, the quarterback creating and making some plays there on third down, and then missed tackles by Michigan State, something we've not seen all year from the Spartans. Lewis missed a top opportunity there to stop Gaffney. He bounced off him and got into the end zone for a touchdown.
Jordan Williamson adds the extra point after this touchdown run by Gaffney. So the young man who spent a year in the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball organization has a great love for football, and Stanford says, come on back. A 77-yard touchdown drive with Gaffney finishing it off from the 16-yard line has Stanford up ahead. And Jordan Williamson is a story. He had a hip problem, but he's been kicking very well in practice, and he will kick off. Coach Shaw telling us that he has a very long leg. Now, R.J. Shelton, a freshman from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, is back. And guess who his protector is? Kyler Ellsworth, number 41. That's right, the starting middle linebacker is right there. But they want this ball in Shelton's hands. And Shelton awaits it in the end zone. And there's Williamson's big leg. They'll take a knee coming out of the 25.
Let's go back to this touchdown. Kevin Dancer, the right guard, involved in a double team here. It initially starts, and then he works his way up to Danico Allen, right in the middle of that offense, or that defense. Remember, we don't have Max Bola in there, but this is what I was talking about right here. Boom! Isaiah Lewis has a chance to stop him at the 10-yard line, and if he doesn't bring his arms and wrap up Tyler Gaffney, this is a different kind of back that he's facing than some of the backs he's faced in the Big Ten. He is a powerful runner.
Spartans' first play from the 25-yard line. Langford on a play action. Connor Cook rolls out and completes the first pass to Gleichert.
You're going to see a lot of this with Connor Cook, rolling him away from the pressure. Stanford leads the nation in sacks with 40. Not only rolling him out, but getting the ball out of his hands quickly to the tight end, Gleichert. Not only does he get it out of his hands, but it gets the ball to Gleichert with a chance to work out in space, and he picks up some valuable yards for the Spartans.
So a 17-yard gain on first down, and the ball is across the 41-yard line for Michigan State. Now it's Langford, hole on that right side of the line, and he crosses midfield before Ed Reynolds brings him down.
Brett, they brought both the inside linebackers here, Scove and Tarpley. See them right into the middle. Great job of sustaining their blocks there by Treadwell and Allen, and it opened up very quickly. Great vision there. You see him hesitate and then explode through the hole. Langford's been doing that all year long. See Scove coming there, timing up the blitz. He's done that all year, but he is picked up perfectly there by Blake Treadwell, the leader of this offensive line.
First down for the Spartans. They have barged into the Cardinal territory, trailing it by a touchdown. Gleichert's number 92. And Connor Cook going to keep it in the air. Fires near side. Incomplete. And you know, here to help us introduce Michigan State starting quarterback is a man who rushed for 2 touchdowns in the 1988 Rose Bowl. Here's Lorenzo White.
The Spartan starting quarterback for the day is super sophomore Connor Cook from Hinckley, Ohio. For the season, he threw for 20 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. Let's go, Connor. Let's go, Spartans.
Herbie, I did a lot of games with he was a heck of a running back up there.
Powerful guy, ahead of his time back in 1980.
Second down and 10 now for Connor Cook and the Spartans. And a handoff, and that's Kings, the wide receiver who lined up in the backfield. And he's pushed out of bounds on the far side at about the 42. Quick look at the impact players.
Yeah, Langford, of course, has had just a terrific second half of the season, 8 straight 100-yard games. Tony Lippett, Benny Fowler, the entire group of receivers, much more productive than people give credit. Trent Murphy and Shane Scove, 93 and 11, will be all over the field for the Stanford defense.
So this is the hurry up and wait. It looked like the Spartans were going to hit us with some tempo, but instead when they came up, they gave the coaches a chance to check the defensive set of Stanford, and here they come. Option look, and Cook is going to be thrown for a loss. Can't get back to the line of scrimmage because number 93, Trent Murphy from Mesa, Arizona, brings him down, and Trent Murphy is a dandy.
And they're trying to recognize the man under coverage because of what you talked about here. Here's Trent Murphy. He's an outside linebacker, but on third down, they'll put his hand in the ground. Watch him work through that offensive line. Jack Conklin, a freshman, matched up against one of the best players in the country. It's a mismatch, and Murphy takes advantage of it.
So it's fourth down, and here comes one of the Big Ten's better punters, Mike Sadler. He can win field position, and Cody Whitfield will try to prove otherwise. Gonna hope this one goes into the end zone, and it does. It'll come out on the 20-yard line. So Stanford scores on its first possession, and Michigan State is forced to punt. We'll be right back. And here's an alert for Michigan State Spartan fans. Stanford's first 4 drives against Arizona State in the Pac-12 championship in Tempe, Arizona, resulted in touchdowns for the Cardinal. And Gaffney will get the first carry behind Hewitt. Big hole, 25, 30, 40. And Hewitt led the way, and Gaffney makes it to the 36-yard line before Denard and Jones can bring him down.
Yeah, watch the block here by Hewitt, 85. Also, Devin Kajust involved in opening that play up, and he bounces it to the outside there in a hurry. That play opened up. It looked like Michigan State had it bottled up, but again, the quickness and acceleration of Tyler Gaffney. He's 6'1", 225 pounds, but he can pull away from you. You see they took a chance. They kind of shot a gap there with Denikos Allen, but Hewitt sustained that block, and it opened it up there. Big hole there for Gaffney.
Back in the gun on second down and 10. Keeping it all the way. And again, trying fumble, loose ball. Spartans on it. And it looked like Denikos Allen fabulous player from Michigan State, was down there. He forced the fumble when it came loose. But they retained possession, the Cardinal. It looked like Michigan State was going to recover this, so there was some great hustle here by the Cardinal.
Michigan State had the first 2, maybe even 3 defenders there all over the football. Denikos Allen, the leader, the leading tackler, is right there. Drone, actually, I think 42, gets a hand on the ball and puts it in the air. Isaiah Lewis had his hands on it, misses it. There's Hoover with a chance to recover it. Isaiah Lewis has another chance. It looked like Denard was in there. It looked like Drone hustling there and knocked that ball loose. Yeah.
And maybe it's a first down across the 25-yard line. And a rested Gaffney returns. And now Coach Shaw, who calls the plays, has gone to one of his jumbo looks. And frequently, this is Kamatule who comes in. Take a look at that beef, folks. And he's bringing even more beef over to that left side. Hewitt headed there. Gaffney, though, tried to cut away from it, and the Spartans weren't fooled. And that was Denard making another stop.
Yeah, and they slanted that defensive line. Remember, they've had 3.5 weeks to prep for this. They've heard all about Stanford and that jumbo package and the tendencies that come with that. And part of what David Shaw will do early in a game is he'll give you formations, and he's very interested to see how you react. And you might win a battle, but he will come back with a war and try to adjust and make a play and either throw off of it or break a tendency off a certain formation.
He was an assistant coach in the National Football League for 9 years. Play action. Incomplete. So he and Montgomery were not on the same page that time. So we take a look at the David Shaw background, and those are the NFL teams that he coached for. Remember, he was also a wide receiver in the league. His father, Willie Shaw, who's on the sideline, he was a lifer, folks, and he had 2 terms at Stanford, and that's where David grew up a Stanford fan. So here we go now on a 3rd down against this Spartan defense. Inside pitch, and that was Wilkerson, and he is short of the first down. Williamson up to make the stop.
R.J. Williamson in there in a nickel package does a good job. I think initially it may have caught Michigan State off guard. A little shuffle pass. See, he gets underneath Denikos Allen. Yankee picks him up, but a good awareness that time by the sophomore out of Dayton, Ohio. Comes up and makes the play and run support and forces his field goal.
And so, Herbie, here is Jordan Williamson. Inside of 50 yards, he's 16 of 18. This will be his 19th attempt because it's a 34-yarder. The right hash, he curls it in. Stanford with a touchdown and now a field goal, and they lead the Spartans 10-0 with 1:40 remaining in our first quarter. And the Spartan fans are a little quiet because Michigan State only gave up 29 first quarter points all season. Folks, that's 13 games, and already the favored Cardinal have put 10 up.
You know, it's the second time in the last 28 games that they've given up double-digit points in the first quarter. So this is uncharted territory for this unit.
And Shelton not given a chance. Out it will come to the 25-yard line, and so a lot of pressure now on young Connor Cook back in the gun. Langford, nothing doing against the middle of that Stanford front. So, Herbie, I think we're seeing why when this game was posted, the Cardinal was favored for about a field goal, and it has risen almost every day, and now they go off as a 7-point favorite at kickoff time. There's a lot of respect out in Nevada for Stanford.
there should be. These guys defensively, you look at them and you think, well, how are they able to do it every week against the run? They run an NFL scheme. They play a 3-4. The defensive line eats up the offensive line, and it frees those linebackers to run to the football against the run game.
From the gun, Cook can't find an open target, and he is sacked at the 24-yard line. That was Blake Luters.
But they are disguising things when they know that Cook's going to go back there This time they are showing they're going to bring pressure, and eventually they just rush 3. See a linebacker there kind of coming in a little bit late there, but they're disguising it until Kevin Anderson helps out 48. But they call this plastering their receivers. Trying to find somebody to throw the football to. That's what Connor Cook's looking into. That's why he's holding on to it. That was the goal of Derek Mason, the defensive coordinator. Make Connor Cook hold on to the football, and then you can get the pressure to him.
The Spartans bunch receivers to the right. Cook, middle, off a deflection. Could have been intercepted, but Kings caught the ricochet for the Spartans.
Boy, Connor Cook got away with one there, boy. Right through the hands of Kevin Anderson, the sophomore. He sits back in zone, and I don't think Cook ever saw him. He threw it right into his chest. It goes off of his hands and into the air, and there's Kings alert to be able to recognize the football, and he picks up a first down. The Spartans got away with one there.
14 yards, and thank you very much as we come to the end.
You got to be lucky once in a while,
yeah, absolutely. Right? The end of our first quarter here in Pasadena, and we're back after these messages. You're watching the granddaddy of them all, presented by Vizio on ESPN. And Herbie, you and I are going to talk all game long about number 25 for Stanford, Tyler Gaffney. And as you pointed out, when he came from baseball, he's a little bit tougher than we thought.
Yeah, really wondered, filling the shoes of Stephon Taylor, how he would do. He's had such a big year.
Cook is going to air it out again. Snaps it off, complete into the middle, and that was Tony Lippett, the junior from Detroit, Michigan. He went to Crockett High School.
You got a twist up front, movement from the linebackers. Watch, you have both their two best players, Murphy, and also you have Scove coming on the blitz. But because it's picked up, and actually Murphy didn't get picked up, but because you had Scove picked up and the quarterback Cook was able to get the ball out of his hands quickly, huge void underneath the coverage. Derek Mason took a chance by bringing both of his linebackers.
So it's a first down across the 40-yard line for Sparty. Fake the end around off the play action. Cook trying to buy time, picks up the running back Langford. And Langford beats a couple of tacklers. Did a very powerful job of running, but tacklers 3 and 4 got there, and Blake Luters was bringing him down.
Well, that's just too slow developing. He telegraphed the screen, the entire Stanford defense moving over in that direction. Langford, pretty heroic effort there just to be able to pick up a couple yards. Thought at one point, because it was taking so long, you might see Cook just throw it into the feet of Langford, but he decided to give him the football, and he ended up picking up at least a few yards.
Second down and 8. 3 receivers off to the field or the left side. Cook keeping it all the way on a quarterback draw, and did not fool the Cardinal that time, as number 48, Kevin Anderson, we've mentioned his name a couple of times, junior from Palo Alto, California, makes the stop.
Well, anytime an offense goes empty, that's one thing you have to be aware of, but it's good awareness here by Anderson. He recognizes it right quick, collapses down in a hurry, and if he doesn't make that decision, then that time you will see Cook, who can surprise you with some speed. He would have definitely picked up a first down.
Third down and 6. Pendleton, and now Langford motions out. Cook can't find an open receiver. Checks back. Now he completes it to Pendleton, the fullback, and he's across the 15-yard line for a first down before Tarpley can bring him down. I was impressed with Cook's patience when he looked behind him to make sure he didn't have somebody on his backside.
He's felt a lot of pressure. He actually looks over his right shoulder. He steps up into the pocket and he starts to bail, and then look right over his right shoulder. Where's Murphy? Where the heck is 93s? He realizes he's got a chance. And how about Pendleton this time making the catch after the penalty that put Michigan State way back in their own territory. Good job by Cook, and a nice hands there by the fullback.
So the Spartans barge to the red zone. Langford, daylight. And he's to the 6-yard line. Lyons and Richards with the stop.
They overload the right side. They bring a tackle over. You're thinking that everybody's going to flow to the offense's right. The defense is thinking the same thing. It's a design cutback the other way. Michael Dennis, the left tackle, or the tight end who's lined up as a left tackle, does a good job of sealing Shane Scove, and that opened up on the backside there for the Michigan State offense.
Lippett and Fowler are in on this set. Second down and short. Langford, again that hole on the left side, but it closes quickly, and he's near the 3-yard line, and that was a stop that was made by Amanum. And he was our defensive most valuable player last year. Remember that interception in the
late in the
fourth
game?
quarter
He
against
sure
the
was.
Badgers.
He's had a great career. This Michigan State offense all of a sudden starting to find themselves and starting to settle down. They've made some plays on this drive through the air, on the ground. This is tough sledding. You start to try to run the football against Stanford inside the 10 and 5-yard line. It's a tough thing to do, but they've had some success here on these last couple plays.
So they're back at the 9, and now you would think that they would throw off play action on this 3rd down. Straight drop back. And too high, but a penalty will give the Spartans a fresh set of downs. Wayne Lyons all over the receiver.
Boy, did Michigan State catch a break there. That ball was thrown high, and I don't think the receiver had a chance to make a play on it at all. That ball sailed well over the head of Kings. And if they end up getting this call, that's a big break for Michigan State.
Pass interference. Defense, number 2. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
Kings has been pretty active in this game plan. You can see, they try to take a one-on-one break. Inside technique by the corner, Lyons. And that ball, again, whether Lyons touched him or not, that ball is going to sail well over the head of Kings. He wouldn't have had a chance, but they get the call.
So here is the 1st and goal for the Spartans, and here's Langford behind Pendleton. A great block. Touchdown, Michigan State. Back in it. But what a block by the fullback, Pendleton.
The big fullback had a heck of a drive, didn't he?
He really did.
Final football, made some big blocks, led Langford here. He takes on Joe Himscott, 40, who's trying to seal the edge. He pins him to the inside, and you get Langford to the corner, and a safety like Jordan Richards will not be able to slow him down from getting to the corner for a touchdown.
Freshman Michael Geiger from Toledo, Ohio, on for the extra point for the Spartans. Back within 3. Into the end zone for the Spartans. There you can see the shadows starting to close in now. Sunset moving in on the San Gabriel Mountains in the background. Stanford 10, Michigan State 7. And when they kicked off the first time, Kevin Mumot did not avoid Ty Montgomery. Remember, Stanford leads the country in kickoff returns. They're going to give him another chance. Here he comes. 20, 25, looking for daylight, and kind of ran into his own man, and he's down at the 30-yard line. First down and 10 for Kevin Hogan, and the play was stopped before the handoff to Gaffney. So the flag comes flying.
False start. Offense, number 76. After this the goal, first down.
That's a penalty on Danzer, Kevin Danzer.
He's saying what happened, and he just rocked in his stance. He didn't lift his hand up. He just kind of rocked just a bit, and the officials caught him for it.
Here is one of the most amazing statistics of the year. This Stanford offensive line has been called for only 2 holding calls all season. That's right, only 2 holding calls. Hard to believe. And now Hogan goes out. They go back to the Wildcat, and here comes Gaffney, and the Michigan State Spartans were ready for it. They throw him back in the end zone, looking for the safety call. But he was forward progress is going to be marked at about the 1-yard line. Kyler Ellsworth, who replaced Max Bulla, he read that play perfectly as soon as Hogan motioned out.
Brent, it's amazing. They prep this. As soon as Hogan gets out of there, there's an alert to the Michigan State defense. He gets out of there. Look at this guy. They completely leave Ty Montgomery alone. Look at Ty Montgomery. He has nobody on him. Tyler Gaffney's a former baseball player. He could have just pitched it out there to Ty Montgomery. He might have gone 95 yards. The guy over Montgomery came down to help out and run support.
Now second down for the Cardinal, backed up to the 1. Gaffney gets a handoff, and he gets out to about the 4-yard line, and that's going to set up 3rd and long. David Shaw calls the plays for Stanford. You can see him over there now looking at the play chart, and here comes the signal. Now to Hogan as to what he wants to do here with 3:30 remaining in the first half.
And at 3rd and 14, this is where you have to be very, very selective and careful. He has such a big board to choose from. He better make a wise decision on his own 5-yard line, and momentum kind of in the swing of going in favor of Michigan State. It's a big 3rd down.
They're going to show pistol. Mesh point a little bit quicker if they're just trying to. Now he's up under center. Backs up into the end zone, has time, deep down that side, out of bounds, and the Cardinal forced a punt from their own end zone.
A rare case of seeing Michigan State play man underneath and actually have a safety over the top. R.J. Williamson was over the top of Wayans that time to help him out. Usually you see these corners on an island with nobody back behind there, but on 3rd and 14, you have Wayans out there, but you see 26 coming over there to try to help him out.
Now a 60-yard punt and a 49-yard punt for Ben Ryan. But this is a pressure cooker. Kings is back deep, and again he's retreating, takes a bounce, and then it goes out of bounds at the 41-yard line. What a leg for Ben Ryan. He's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He went to Charlotte Country Day, and now he tacks on a 54-yarder. Right now it's Michigan State, champions of the conference, with a first down coming out from their own 41-yard line after another booming Ryan punt. They fake the end around. They come back with Langford, and he picks his way close to the 45-yard line.
And tough sledding for Langford in this running game in this first half. And we knew that it would be tough for them coming in, and they've done about as good a job as you could hope for mixing it up. It's almost like they're throwing to set up the run and hoping to get into the second half where Langford maybe become more of the offense. But right now it's really up to Connor Cook and these receivers making plays for Michigan State if they want to get points here before this first half ends.
Now, there are 4 receivers on the field, Herbie, right now for the Spartans after that gain, bringing up 2nd and 6, in trouble. Intercepted. Bad decision by Cook. 10-5 touchdown, you know who, Kevin Anderson, a homegrown product from Palo Alto, California. 40 yards on the pick 6, and the pressure was coming from the nickelback Umanum.
And you know that Anderson, who dropped that interception, has to be so excited to get another opportunity to get his hands on the football, and this time comes up with it and gets the interception. The pressure led them. They knew they could get to him. This time they do, and Anderson's the beneficiary.
Williamson. Boink, but good.
They brought pressure from the outside. Umanum, who's the nickelback, is out here. Here is Anderson, who ends up coming up with the interception. Scove is right here. So they're going to have a lot of pressure. They're just trying to come after him. Umanum comes free, and because he gets free, nobody picks him up. This is how they confuse you on which way to slide the offensive line. Langford, the back, was lined up to the opposite side. You see, he picks up nobody as they try to set up a screen, but a perfect call by Derek Mason. The right time to bring the blitz from the right side, and Umanum comes free, and what a big, big play for the Cardinal here before the first half ends.
And again, Shelton will be forced to take a knee. It'll come out on the 25.
Ran a big sequence of plays coming up right here for Michigan State after that pick 6, and now all of a sudden they find themselves down 10 points with 2:07 to go with 2 timeouts in the first half.
Connor Cook needs to shake off that decision that he just made and come right back. They've got him throwing the ball on first down, had difficulty, and it is incomplete, as it was good coverage on the running back. You know, one thing about Anderson, the young man who just scored the touchdown, he comes from a very bright family. He's got a brother who played football at Yale.
You find that sometimes with these guys from Stanford. Boy, he kept that play alive, and Jeremy Langford just dropped the football. Man, that's right into the hands. That's 8 yards on first down because Cook keeps the ball. alive and puts it out there to Langford, who's pretty sure-handed. He just dropped the ball. I think he may have felt the pressure and looking up. They're rushing 3 and dropping 8. Tough to find open receivers when you got 8 in coverage.
Second down, over the middle, complete. And near midfield for a first down is Tony Lippett, the junior from Detroit.
And when you do find a seam, it's tight. When you have 8 in coverage, you've got to take a chance, and Cook's got to get back there, make a quick read, and get the ball out of his hands. That's exactly what he did there.
1:45 remaining in the first half. Quick throw to Langford, got the edge, and he's got another first down for Michigan State and stops the clock at the 1:40 mark.
Yeah, that's acceleration right there. Jeremy Langford gets out there. Cook does a good job. He sees the blitz. Tarpley 17's coming. Boy, good job at dumping it out there quickly. And that time, Langford secured the football, didn't worry about looking upfield. And boy, he really turned on the speed there to pick up that first down.
And Price, the tight end, shuttles into play from the sideline. First down and 10 at the Stanford 40. Michigan State with a pair of timeouts. Touring far side, got one-on-one, and reaching forward at the 4-yard line is Benny Fowler. Great catch against Wayne Lyons.
This is just taking a chance. Just put the ball up in the air. You got one-on-one coverage. Put it up and hope that Fowler can make a catch and hope that Lyons doesn't find the football. Great effort here by Fowler. This is a group of receivers that struggled catching the football a year ago. They had 66 drops as a group. Early this year, they struggled with drops. How about that effort and the growth by Benny Fowler to extend, adjust the football, gets his hand under the point of the ball to keep it away from the ground. That is a big play for Michigan State.
Late defensive subs for Stanford. Back, throws in, short of the end zone. They're going to have to burn one of their timeouts here. The ball is at about the 2-yard line. Tony Lippett, the receiver. One timeout in their pocket. Does D'Antonio want to run? He's got the fullback in front of Langford. No, they're going to throw out of it. Cook with plenty of time, can't find a receiver, and caught. Touchdown to fullback. Trevin Pendleton from Lucasville, Ohio. His second big catch here of the first half. And the Spartans in business again.
Boy, Pendleton has had an active first half. Came into this game with 6 receptions on the entire year for 106 yards and a touchdown. And here involved in a couple big receptions, and this one for a touchdown.
Michael Geiger on for the extra point. His punter, Sadler, the holder. And what's really impressive about this is that Michigan State answered after a pick 6. They drove 7 plays, 75 yards for the touchdown.
And they get the ball to start the second half. Something to keep in mind. Here he is right here. Surprising call. I thought they might get the ball into the hands of Langford, but this is what you want to keep an eye on right here. Watch the man who's covering him, Lancaster. He actually goes down. And now he starts to recover. Great recognition there by the quarterback to be able to see that Lancaster 35. Here's another good look at it. He slips, and all of a sudden the fullback's all alone. I actually think he's about to throw it away. And right before he did, he recognizes Lancaster down and Pendleton all alone, showing those soft hands for the big fullback. Pretty good first half in the 100th Rose Bowl. Michigan State got back in. That was a great answer, as you said, and now they do get the football to start the second half.
A huge contingent of Michigan State fans here today. And let's go down now to Heather Cox.
Thanks so much, Coach. After jumping out to an early 10-0 lead, the offense held scoreless in the second quarter. What will you ask of your offense in the second half?
Well, you know, we got to stay away from the negative plays. 2 false start penalties and a couple of guys got beat up front. I mean, they're very good. We have to maintain our blocks and give our backs a chance to crease them.
We'll let you get to your team. Thanks. Let's head over to Tom.
Coach, down 10 twice in this first half, your biggest deficits of this season. What was your message to your team?
Well, we just got to catch fire. We got to play with a little bit more enthusiasm. You know, we've been in this situation before a little bit, you know, early on, but we've just got to have a little bit more presence.
Appreciate it. Good luck second half.
Thank you.
17-14. Stanford of the Pac-12 leading Michigan State of the Big Ten. We've come to the end of the first half here in Pasadena. Stay tuned right after these messages for the Buick halftime report on ESPN. Brent Musburger back with Kirk Herbstreit down on the field. Heather Cox and Tom Rinaldi. And we had an outstanding first half as Michigan State scored a touchdown after a pick six. And we will start the second half 17-14, and you couldn't ask for anything more than this. I mean, Michigan State has put Stanford under the gun here late.
Without a doubt, and what an amazing job of coming back after we talked at the halftime break. Connor Cook had the interception, poor decision, comes right back and makes a big play. And if you look at the Home Depot coaching adjustment for Michigan State, it's what a great job Connor Cook's done at putting the ball into the hole. Hasn't always had time to throw. He's been in the pocket, feels the pressure. Look at the receiver. He's not quite there. He throws the receiver to where he needs to be, and then they make a big play in a pass game. Then, when he doesn't have an open receiver, looks like he's going to have to throw the ball away. He ends up throwing it to Pendleton for a touchdown, let the play develop, and eventually came up with it. And if Michigan State's going to win this game, Connor Cook's going to have to continue to make some plays in a pass game to give the Spartans a victory.
Let's check in down below with Heather.
Well, guys, I was with the Stanford team coming out of the locker room. There was some concern about players slipping, so they were going to change to longer cleats in the locker room. They ultimately decided not to. As for what happened in the locker room, David Shaw's message was simple. Don't act like you don't have the lead. That's all he said. Then it was the coordinators, mostly the defensive coordinators, talking about the need to pressure the quarterback a little bit and that the linemen and the linebackers have to be more aggressive. They were upset that they let a couple of seam routes go, that the linemen weren't pressuring and reacting too much to the zone.
And again, the kickoff sails back into the end zone. Both kicking games have been very strong here today as we bring out Connor Cook. And folks, he has the best number. That's right. He's thrown for 198 yards. Now forget that pick six for just a moment. He's thrown for 198 and Hogan for only 66, Herbie.
Yeah, it's because Michigan State has not been able to run the football at all. It's been tough sledding up front, and because of that, Connor Cook, he knew coming in he's going to have to sling it around and make plays and try to avoid mistakes. And in this second half, whichever quarterback makes a play and avoids a disastrous play is going to be the team that walks out of here with a win.
Jeremy Langford is again the running back. They'll run play action and throw to the near side and incomplete. On that first down, Alex Carter, the defensive back, with coverage for the Cardinal, and that'll bring up a 2nd and 10 from the 25.
Good effort there by Benny Fowler, who made a big catch at the end of the first half. Ball's thrown low and away where he's got a shot, and not only great effort by Fowler, but by Alex Carter getting his right hand in there to be able to separate the football from the receiver.
Both Fowler and King will go to the left side of this offensive formation. Lippett will come down below. From the gun, they're going to keep it airborne. Complete. Foot race now. The 30, 25. Benny Fowler to the 14-yard line. And remember that 43-yard grab he made to set up that big touchdown. And what a run after the catch here.
And what a great job up front of picking up the pressure. They bring a blitz here and here, and a good job by Langford stepping up and doing his job. And this is what Michigan State needed, the wide receivers to get separation, be able to make a play. They knew they could attack Stanford through the air, and this is a big-time play by Benny Fowler. Comes back to the football, and then he pulls away from that Stanford secondary, almost takes it to the end zone.
So Michigan State threatening to go ahead here for the first time on the opening drive. They fake the end around. Cook in trouble, and he'll go down at the 19-yard line, sacked by Henry Anderson, the senior from Atlanta.
There are a lot of different bodies coming out there. It's easy to look up here and say, boy, he had this receiver open or that receiver open, but you know, he was hoping that they would bite on the reverse. See how slow he is and deliberate he is on the fake. Unfortunately, Wayne Lyons was not buying it. The corner was on the blitz, got the pressure, and forced Cook to have to step up. He didn't have anybody to get the ball to there.
Andre Sims, number 21, has checked in for Michigan State. Cook looks in his direction, comes back now to the far side, and pushed out of bounds at the 9 is Jamal Lyles, the tight end, his first catch of the game.
You know, you get down into the red zone, and you've got to maintain an aggressive mentality. You've got to continue to fight, which Michigan State is trying to do. You don't know how many times you're going to get into the red zone. And between these two offenses, when you do get down into this precious territory, you need to try to maximize it by getting touchdowns and not settling for field goals.
Fowler and Kings are in, along with Lippett as the wide receivers. It's a 3rd down and 9 from the Stanford 14-yard line. Cook on a slant and incomplete. The target was defended by Alex Carter that time, number 25. Outstanding job from the sophomore from Ashburn, Virginia.
It's twice we've seen Carter on this drive involved in trying to get Benny Fowler away from the football. Boy, good effort by Fowler to try to hold on to it between the ground and the right hand of Carter trying to pull it out of there, but he does eventually get the ball away.
Here's Michael Geiger. And on the season, this freshman from Toledo, Ohio, is 14 of 15. This is a 32-yarder for the tie, and it's from the left hash. Dead on again. An impressive freshman. And we start all over again in the 100th Rose Bowl game. It's Stanford, Michigan State, deadlock. We welcome you back to Pasadena and the Rose Bowl. And for Michigan State fans, the last team to win after Trent at the half, Barry Alvarez, coach Wisconsin, defeating Stanford 17-9. But folks, since then, the Big Ten has lost 9 of the 10 games they've played here in the Rose Bowl. Back into the end zone. Here comes Ty Montgomery. 50. Spins at the 21-yard line, and Kevin Hogan will put it in play there. Ellsworth opens the game as the Mike linebacker here in the second half. He and Harris alternated throughout the first half. Hogan is under center on first down. Gaffney on a little bit of a cutback, and he's out to the 23 with Jones making the stop. Second down. Gaffney cuts off the stretch play. Going to get swallowed in the shadow of the end zone. Gave up yards when he cut back. Reynolds and Lewis got there for the Spartans.
And Brent, you know this. They are relentless in their approach. Look at them. They're attacking. Ellsworth firing through. Danico Sallin. You think you can get the cutback? There's the backside safety to the field, taking that away. Remember I said they want to beg you to throw the football, challenge you to see if you can execute your passing game against one-on-one coverage. Such confidence in those corners out on an island. Turns the other 9 loose against the run game. Makes it very tough to run the football against the Spartans.
Third down and 14. Gaffney. And he makes it to the 6-yard line. Stanford forced to punt again. Jones makes the stop.
All we heard about is how would Michigan State and Pat Narduzzi do without their leader, Max Bulla. They came across to us very confident in the system. They're sure they'd miss Max Bulla. 40 straight starts, the leader of this defense. So far through now through 3 quarters, what an amazing effort in their preparation and the way they've executed against this Stanford offense.
So Stanford will be punting when we start the 4th quarter, and the Spartans will be looking for great field position. Scove saved the day, but only for 3 downs. Into the 3rd quarter. We'll be back after these messages. You're watching the Rose Bowl game, presented by Vizio on ESPN. Stanford's Ben Ryan. He's had a terrific day punting. Backed up in their own end zone here to start the 4th quarter. And Kings got a return. Left alley. Out of bounds. Great field position. Best starting field position of the game coming up here for the Spartans.
Then the game clearly feels that the momentum has swung in favor of Michigan State here in this second half. Kings does a great job this time of recognizing the short punt, not calling the fair catch, being able to find that initial seam, and then accelerating downfield and getting as many yards as he can.
Fowler will be the wide receiver to the right. They'll have him one-on-one. He's made 2 terrific catches in this game so far. Cook under center. Langford, after the turnover, will get the first carry, and he is stopped for a loss by Morrow. Let's check in down below with Tom Ronaldo.
Brent, all week, Coach Antonio talking about how his team would respond to adversity. Interesting to see Langford come off after that fumble inside the red zone, apologize to every offensive lineman and his quarterback.
A penalty flag is thrown. They wanted to set a flanker screen to the right.
False start. Offense, number 94. The player never got set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Cook and Michigan State are starting to go hurry up more and more here. And one thing that Cook has to be aware of is making sure, of course, you got to go hurry up. You got to get your guys lined up there because you cannot afford in a game like this to give up 5 yards.
And that was Michael Dennis, and he's jumbo. He's the 300-pound blocking tight end on that play. So they certainly were not going to use him as a receiver. The ball now is at the 34-yard line. Cook checks over to the right side before the snap. Now he looks back to the left, comes in underneath with the completion, and out of bounds at the 25-yard line is Price, number 82. He's out of Greenstown, Indiana, tight end.
Time Connor Cook looked to his right, saw a man up coming, seemed he just gave it a little bit of a look, saw the nickel back coming on the blitz, right away knew he needed to almost abort the drop, get it out there to Price as fast as he could, threw away from the blitz that time and picked up some pretty good yards.
Third down for the Spartans. Cook. Nickel blitzer picked up. Touchdown! Tony Lippett, the junior from Detroit, against the blitz. Cook rifles a touchdown pass to Lippett. Another third down strike for Connor Cook.
They're going to make sure that his right knee did not touch. I thought he got in. Well, he's reaching across. He touches, but I think the ball is across. Breaks the plane for the touchdown. Stayed on top of Lyons. By the time he touched down, it looked like he was across and looked like a touchdown to me.
Michael Geiger tacks on the extra point. Folks, we got an underdog howling in Pasadena right now. The maligned Big Ten with a chance to win the 100th edition of the Rose Bowl game. And if Cook keeps up throws like that, they will come away with a win. Right on the money to Lippett. So Lippett puts the Spartans ahead for the first time in the fourth quarter with 13:22 to go. Yuma will kick it away. Here's Montgomery from the 4. Got great speed if he can get a lane. And he's out to the 31-yard line.
Brett, you go back to this touchdown. It's third down, and Stanford's going to bring pressure over here. Manum and also Scove coming here. What's interesting is Ed Reynolds moves to the middle of the field, and that creates an opening and a seam in this defense. But I think the eyes of the quarterback, Connor Cook, moved Ed Reynolds over to the middle, and that's what created an even larger seam there. See his eyes? His eyes looking off to the right. Ed Reynolds jumped on that. You could see his helmet there flash and opened up a big throwing lane there on third down, and Lippett took advantage of it.
Happy New Year, everybody. 9 minutes left in a very, very well-played Rose Bowl game. Stanford led early, now trails Michigan State. Stanford with the 1st and 10. Play action, Hogan, and they bring the end around, and a leveling block in the backfield. Rector with speed, the ball carrier crosses midfield. But I'm telling you, what a block in the backfield by Hewitt. He leveled the defender and set up this 27-yard gain.
And Michael Rector kind of sets this up, Brent, with a little hesitation move to give him the angle right there to lay him out. And then look at the white jerseys setting up a convoy down the right sideline. But, Brent, we have a fast-flowing defense. Misdirection, reverses, great block by Hewitt. That's a good call, and it's almost like David Shaw and Mike Bloomgren have waited for the right time to call that play.
That was a decleater on that block by Hewitt. Leading Gaffney now. It is hard going against this Spartan front, even without Max Bulla. Kyler Ellsworth and Darian Harris have held down the fort at that middle linebacking spot. D'Antonio, he was confident that these two fellows could do it physically, and so far they have.
Sure have, and it's just the DNA of their offense. Even though they have struggled, it's like running into a wall at times. They continue to go back to that power play, the backside guard pulling around, the fullback leading through. There's just not a lot of room so far for Tyler Gaffney to work at other than that first drive.
Second down and 8. Play action again from Hogan. Has time. Fires deep. And there's a penalty. A penalty flag has been thrown. I believe Denard was the defensive back. Yes, the winner of the Jim Thorpe. Darquez Denard was with Devin Cajuste. Cajuste can surprise you. He had ACL surgery, but he has not lost his speed.
Holding. Defense number 31. 10-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Cajuste 6'4", about 230 pounds, matched up against Denard. This is a great matchup, and watch him work to the outside to set up the move back to the middle, and there's no question about it. Denard was physical, but once he tries to pull away, Cajuste, see him setting it up, then he pulls away, but you couldn't see the left hand grabbed onto the jersey of Cajuste.
And we go to the Wildcat again for the third time in this game. Gaffney will keep it. Tries to squeeze in behind the tight end and the tackle there, and a pretty decent gain as he crosses the 30-yard line on this first down. So they show the Wildcat as a change of pace. They did it, folks, even when Andrew Luck was the quarterback. So for Coach David Shaw, that's just simply part of his offense. And don't you dare second guess him on it. Experience, folks, a great teacher. Second down now. Young flashes through, and Hogan able to fire it off that time.
Hewitt fell. I mean, they're trying to set up a tight end screen here, get the ball to Hewitt, trying to mess with the eyes of the defense by running Kelsey Young. Anytime you see 39 going in motion, you're thinking about a jet sweep. They're trying to freeze the linebackers and safeties and then just dump it to 85. He just slipped and lost his balance.
Third down and 7. Hogan keeps it, dives for that first down. Great effort by the quarterback that time. Williamson coming up, and you can see that side judge coming down, and that would give them a first and 10. Excellent running effort by Hogan.
An interesting spot here. That's a read by the quarterback, Hogan. He's reading it. There's a lot of green jerseys in there. Well, he seemed to land right at the line, or maybe a bit short, but they give him the benefit of the doubt there and give him the first down.
Gaffney back in. From the 23. Gaffney behind Hewitt again. And he's close to that 20-yard line with Drummond hanging on.
They want to always try to outflank you. They try to get to the outside. They have not been able to do that tonight at all because of the way the safeties have come down in run support. Even a corner, you see Denard up in there. Drummond eventually the last man there, the last man standing, to be able to hold him before he bounced it to the outside and would have picked up some big yards.
6 minutes remaining. Second down. Play action and sacked back at the 29-yard line by Denzel Drone. Drone got to him.
Pat Narduzzi will take chances. There's no doubt about it. Drone is over here. You also have a blitz coming from here. They're taking a chance and guessing that he may try to roll out. It's exactly what they do, and Drone, the senior, does a great job of bringing that pressure, anticipating that bootleg, which Stanford does a lot. And you see Pat Narduzzi has worked his way from the press box down to the sideline, as he often does for Michigan State's defense.
The throwing down for Kevin Hogan and Stanford. 3rd and 16, 5.5 to go. Quick pitch to the outside. And down across the 20-yard line is Barry Sanders, but he's short of that first down.
Right away, he sends out the field goal unit. 5.5 minutes to go here, and he's thinking about 3 points here, trying to get a stop and getting the football back.
This is the first time that Stanford has been in the red zone since the first quarter. It is 4th down and 5. Bobbled by the holder. He's going to try to throw it back across the middle, and it's caught at the 9-yard line with a penalty flag throwing on the play. So one of their jumbo linemen got out, but is he eligible?
Ineligible man downfield on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
Trent Murphy is lined up as the left wing. He makes the catch. He's fine. He's fine to be able to make the catch. He's 93. It's that the rest of the guys in the middle of that the offensive line, they start to go downfield as well, trying to either pick up a block or run downfield. It wasn't Murphy. It was the others moving downfield. And he just lost control of it. Not a design fake. That's obvious.
So now after the penalty, it will make a 39-yard attempt. And this one curling in for Jordan Williamson. Stanford pulls to within 4. 5 minutes remaining. They need the ball back. So Shelton is back deep. Hogan hopes it's Scove and the defense can get the ball back. The Spartans hope they can kill the clock for Coach D'Antonio. And the Spartans will start from the 25.
You go back to the field goal just to have closure here. Garnett, 98, is the guy that you want to keep an eye on. Joshua Garnett. He actually efforts here, Brent. You'll see as the play goes on. There's a fire call. They start to take off. Look at him right here, what he does right up here. He's thinking about the same thing that we're all thinking about. He hesitated. He tried to wait. But eventually he got too far down the field, and that's why the call was made.
Pendleton is back after being nicked up a little bit as the fullback, and he has been a key player in this game for Michigan State. Langford and Cook. Langford behind the right side of the offensive line.
It's an interesting time for Jim Bowman and Dave Warner and Mark D'Antonio. 4-point lead. Stanford wants the ball back. You got to work the clock on one hand. You also have a quarterback that's had a career night. Receivers that are playing very well. Do you wait to 3rd down to try to run the ball, or do you try to maybe take a chance throwing the football here on 2nd down?
Cook is in the gun. Langford is hit in the backfield by Scove. Scove read it perfectly. Jumped across the line of scrimmage, threw him for a loss, and here comes a big 3rd down.
Yeah, once again, times it up. He and Tarpley coming right up the middle. Because of how quickly he closes in, the offensive line cannot pick him up. That's the way it's designed by Derek Mason. You bring both the linebackers, they pick up one, the other comes free. And like I said, do you wait do you run on 2nd and wait to throw it on 3rd down? Now you're in a tough position here on 3rd down and 10. And where Dave Warner and Jim Bowman and Mark D'Antonio are talking now is, do you run the ball again, work some more clock? That's still a lot of time to leave on the clock. Or do you give your quarterback a chance to try to make a play and risk an incompletion?
Cook is going to put it up. Broken up. And it's 4th down. The Cardinal will get the ball back at 3:19. The nickel man over there, Umanum Uswa, does a great job. Uswa Umanum.
Umanum makes the play here, Brent, late in the flat. Late in the flat on a 3rd down call late in the game. Michigan State fortunate that Umanum did not step right in front of that. He had a crucial interception in last year's Rose Bowl that made him the defensive MVP. He almost had another one there.
Barry Sanders back deep again for the Cardinal. Sadler is the punter. Line drive. Barry's going to let it roll. Doesn't want to risk it blowing up, and they will start from the 25-yard line. So here comes Kevin Hogan after that 51-yard punt. He has 3:06 to work with.
Well, this is what every quarterback dreams of that grows up in the Big Ten or Pac-12 region. Down 4, game on the line, 1 timeout. Touchdown wins the game and wins the 100th Rose Bowl. Kevin Hogan gets a chance to live that dream, and it's a great point that our crew brings up. He'll have to try to do it without Ty Montgomery, who is out with the apparent injury to one of his legs. So it's going to be up to Cody Whitfield, Kelsey Young, Michael Rector, Devin Kajust are going to have to step up in his absence.
Anthony Wilkerson, the blocker, comes in. Hogan keeps it to start this series, and he's up to the 29-yard line as the clock continues to run.
Yeah, 3rd time we've seen him run that form of the zone read where they have a back go kind of parallel to the line of scrimmage. He's reading the defensive end, the play side defensive end. If he takes the back, he pulls it. If he stays on him, he'll give it. Time he went with the back, Wilkerson, and he pulled it out.
Ricky Seal into the backfield. Cody Whitfield, and they slip it out to Seal now, and he's across the 30-yard line, and that's the first time he's touched the ball, with Hoover making the stop. And now coming back is Tyler Gaffney. He will replace Seal, who was in for 1 play. And it is number 9, Cody Whitfield, who has picked up the reps from Ty Montgomery. Bob Whitfield's son has 1 touchdown catch this season, and it was spectacular.
Expect pressure for Michigan State's linebackers and safeties here.
And they will continue to try to run the ball, and Gaffney is eaten up on this play. What'd you think of that call, Herbie? Danico's Allen again, and timeout. That's the last timeout for Stanford.
And how about Kyler Ellsworth getting in there, the senior former walk-on who's in there for Max Bulla. He's been playing a lot of football tonight trying to defend this run. 41 right in the middle of this, gets off of a block and runs right into the middle of the trenches and hits Tyler Gaffney and pushes him back. You see a lot of green jerseys, but I'm with you. Interesting call there on 3rd down and short.
4th down and 1 now for the Cardinal. The fullback right straight ahead, and the Spartans say didn't get it. Michigan State will take over on the 34-yard line. Kyler Ellsworth, one of the Mike linebackers who replaced Bulla here today. He's in on this play. How about that for the youngster who came to Michigan State as a walk-on originally? In the biggest game of his career, he did not go with the team to the off-the-field functions except the ones that they were required to. He studied film all week long, and now he comes up with a huge play.
Interesting that they go with the lead back, the fullback Hewitt, instead of going with the big tailback. The lead blockers leading the way for Gaffney, but instead they try to sneak in a quick dive play to Ryan Hewitt. Did not catch Michigan State off guard. Ellsworth elevates, and how fitting that Harris is involved there as well.
That's about as much emotion as I have ever, and I mean ever, seen D'Antonio show.
Defense had a big stop earlier in this game on a 4th down. They had a big one in Indianapolis, and they end up securing a victory here in the 100th Rose Bowl with another big stop on 4th down.
And this will stop the Big Ten bleeding in this game. They had lost 3 in a row. The greatest formation of Connor Cook's life. And the headset comes off. The young man who took over following the only Michigan State loss of the season, and that was at South Bend against Notre Dame. He was taken out in the 4th quarter, but during the week off after the loss, the coaches said, we've got to make a decision. And they said, let's go with the youngster. Let's go with Connor Cook. And here he is, leading Michigan State to a Rose Bowl championship. A minute left to go. I know it's cold in East Lansing, but this has got to make all of you feel just a little bit warmer.
No doubt about it. Or Mark D'Antonio has taken his program to such a tremendous level, doing things. And how about it? There's the quarterback, Connor Cook. Good for him. 22 at 36, 332 yards with a couple touchdowns.
Andrew Maxwell, who gave ground to Connor Cook. He'll take this 3rd down snap. There's a fine young man. And D'Antonio will come out to shake hands with Coach Shaw. And somewhere, Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney is celebrating this victory. Nebraska beats Georgia today. And now Michigan State holds off a favored Stanford team. Next up will be Ohio State in the Orange Bowl when they take on Clemson. There's nothing like the Rose Bowl game, and of course it will undergo a huge change after this matchup between the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Next year it'll be one of the semifinal games. But for the time being and this moment, it's old school Rose Bowl, the 100th edition of the Rose Bowl game, and Michigan State wins it. Let's go down to Tom Rinaldi and Coach D'Antonio.
Brett, thank you very much. Why don't you put that cap on?
There we go.
You came here in the spring on an alumni function. You took a detour. You stood on this field in May, and your daughters recorded a video of you envisioning this moment. How does it live up to it in reality?
You know, I just knew we were going to have a special football team this year. There's no question in my mind, and got great leadership from our guys, all of our seniors, great leadership. Our guys came to play, just fought back tonight, and some type of way, we got it done.
How fitting is it that it comes down to a 4th down and 1 with this defense?
Yeah, real fitting. You know, our defense played outstanding. Great call by Narduzzi, something we had not shown. We were firm in the middle and got it done. You know, great job by Stanford, you know, but we're 13-1 football team. We're in the Rose Bowl. It can't get much better than that.
We talk so much about Max Fuller's absence. Tyler Ellsworth is the guy who flies through and makes that play. What did that mean to you about next man up?
Well, we got guys. We got guys on our football team that play a lot of football. You know, we're deep. We're deep on our football team, and we're going to get deeper with some of the recruits that are coming our way. But, you know, it's an exciting time. You know, Kyler, great game. Darian Harris filled in, but, you know, big plays around the board. You know, it's hard for me to say who played out well, but just big plays.
The 26 years it took this program to get back here. I could see it in your face, and I know what this school means to you and these players. How do you sum up the moment?
I'll tell you how you sum up the moment. You're going to be able to come back here and see Michigan State up there winning. on that plaque outside this Rose Bowl 50 years from now with your grandchildren. That's what you're going to be able to do.
Congratulations. Well done for Spartan Nation.
Thank you very much. Our guys showed out tonight. Spartan Nation is here and alive. Go Green. Love everybody home.
Congratulations. Brent.
Thank you very much, Tom. Now, Tom asked you about this video. Take a look and take a listen. Last May.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rose Bowl. Had an opportunity to come out here in late May and just walk on the field a little bit. And this is where we make it happen. So January 1st this year, or 2014 as we get into it, it'll be our time. It will be our time.
His daughter took that video on her cell phone. Mark D'Antonio. Wow. What a win for the Michigan State Spartans and Coach D'Antonio. Now, where is that traditional bath? D'Antonio's quick. That's the only thing they missed all day, folks. They didn't get close to Mark D'Antonio. How about that?
They got to get him for that. When Connor Cook there hugging his coach. What a game for Connor Cook.
So let's go down now to the presentation stand, and here is Chris Fowler.
Brent, thank you, folks. I'm joined by Mark D'Antonio and some happy Spartans. Also joined by Ben Wong, the president and CEO of our title sponsor, Vizio, and the president of the Tournament of Roses to present the trophy, Mr. Scott Jenkins. Scott?
Congratulations, Coach. Champion of the granddaddy of them all, the 100th Rose Bowl game.
Mark, congratulations. A moment more than a quarter century in the making for Michigan State's fans. You've been in coaching 33 years, 7 years at Michigan State, all building to this achievement. What are you most proud of tonight?
Completion. It's a special time for all the Spartans, and we came here in force. Very, very happy for our football team, the resilience we've shown all season long. I knew last year that if we came this year, if we found the inches, that we could be something special. 13-1 is pretty special. I want to congratulate our players. Dream big. Dream big.
Well, this is a big dream realized. I guess it was fitting with the personality of your team all year. It had to come down to a defensive stop on 4th down. With the linebacker over here was filling in for one of the great Spartans of all time, leaping over the top to make the stop. And you showed the most exuberant reaction I've ever seen from a normally stoic guy.
Yeah, well, I get a little excited at the Rose Bowl, you know.
Offensively, just like the Big Ten championship game, you had to show a lot of trust in your quarterback, Connor Cook. Not every play he made was terrific, but he made a lot of big ones.
Connor has the ability to come back and bounce back after something bad. He's resilient. I've said that all along. You know, he has a way of recollecting himself and moving forward. That's what he's able to do. Great catches by our wideouts. Thought our offense played outstanding, really controlled the tempo of the game. And then defensively, once we caught fire in the second half, played very, very well.
I was visiting with your daughters who shared that moment on this empty Rose Bowl field in the spring as you contemplated what it must be like to achieve a moment like this. How does it match up?
Well, it's surreal, you know. I stood down here. There was about 6 people in the stadium at the time. And I told our football team that they would be the ones. And now we're here. It's a done deal. Surreal. I told them when they walked on this field, it'd be something special. And Rose Bowl did not disappoint, I'm going to tell you.
Congratulations, Mark. Let's visit now with the offensive and defensive players of the game. Connor Cook, please come on in here first. Sophomore quarterback, boy, you had to bounce back from some rough plays. Take us through that drive near the end of the first half after the pick six.
You know, I've been resilient all year. You just got to put things behind you. You got to have a short-term memory as a quarterback, especially being on a big stage like this. You have a pick six, you just got to push it behind, just focus on the now and focus on the task at hand, and that's what I did.
It's been 14 years since the team has come from behind at halftime to win a Rose Bowl. Take us through the closing quarter of this game today?
You know, I'm lost for words. You know, just to be able to be here with my teammates, you know, to send the seniors out on a high note and just, you know, hold on the football at the end and just be able to take a knee in the Rose Bowl, the 100th Rose Bowl. It's a surreal feeling, and it's just such a blessing. And I'm just so happy that we got to send out the seniors on the right note.
Congratulations, Connor. Let's bring in Kyler Ellsworth right now, the defensive MVP, the man who met the ball carrier over the top on that 4th down stop. Boy, this is a storybook ending. You replace a guy who's almost impossible to replace, Max Bulla. Talk about your emotions and your ability to perform this way today.
You know, coming into this game, I have my coaching staff behind me. You know, it's a little nerve-wracking at first, stepping into the starting job that's, you know, been placed by Max Bulla for years now. But I had the support of my coaching staff, my players. You know, that gave me confidence to come in here with, you know, a demeanor that, you know, I'm going to get the job done. And, you know, came out on top. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, a moment you can only dream about, that 4th down play at the end of the game. You go airborne. I didn't know you had that kind of hops to meet the ball carrier. Take us through that stop.
You know, all week in practice, you know, we've been talking about, you know, when they get all their big guys in there, the backside guy, it's going to be tough to make a play unless you launch yourself. You go over the top. And, you know, when I saw their offensive lineman stance, real close splits, they were going to take the defensive line needs out. You know, the only way that I knew I was going to be able to make a play is go over top, and was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time and couldn't be happier.
Coach and Connor talked about sending out the seniors in style. Boy, what a moment to conclude your career here as a homegrown guy.
Hey, you know, exactly. Couldn't ask for more. You know, sending not only our seniors off with a bowl win, but, you know, starting off the 2014 season, you know, with the other guys who are going to be here with a win. I hope that rolls on, you know, next year's season, and I couldn't be happier. And, you know, thank you, Spartan Nation.
Congratulations, Kyler and Connor and D'Antonio and the entire Michigan State Spartan organization. Win the Rose Bowl for the first time since '88. We've had so many great memories at this game in the 100 chapters. Today, another one. Brent, back upstairs to you guys.
Against that Florida State defense.
Right now, hail to the Michigan State Spartans. They came in here a touchdown underdog. They trailed early, and they got the job done with a second-half rally. And it is a moment on that 4th and 1 that young man will never forget, nor will his coach. 24-20, Spartans win it. Now let's go to Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman at Glendale, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Take it away, Sean. Good luck with that game.